My name is Peter van der Velde. I'm project leader of this beautiful new project called JCI Change Your Game. We started this with 3 chapters: JCI Brussel, JCI Damme, and JCI Untitled Chapter. 3 local chapters who are a member of JCI Vlaanderen, which is actually a part of JCI Belgium. Why we do this is very simple. A month ago, I had a nice life, but now I'm actually talking to a webinar and nobody's on the street. So a lot of change suddenly. And some people act, but some people freeze. And a lot of people who are actually like wondering, what now? What in the future? And that's why we do this, to give confidence to people who are wondering. People are thinking about, what about my job? What about my future? What about my family? Etc., etc. So that's why we start today with Bernard Moerman, to give you the context. Because a crisis like this is also a unique golden opportunity. For those who don't know what JCI is an international organization of young, active people, persons between 18 and 40 years old. And the organization already exists 100 years old. We give trainings, events, we participate, we connect the government with entrepreneurs and the public. And this is such a project. Good. Some rules of the house. Because the organization asked me to wait, I'm still getting people in here. Normally we should close the doors, but at this moment we have no doors. Good. Toilets. Very important, the toilets. Well, at this moment, as you know, in this concept, there is no toilet, at least not at this place. So I would redirect you to your home office. 2 seconds. We have some Zoom rules. First, during the speech of Bernard and during this webinar, there is no room for a speech or camera. So we will now all put all the cameras out and also the speech. We will unmute you all. And questions, that is the second part. First part is 30 minutes of Bernard's speech, and then the questions we gave. You can actually type them downstairs in the chat. After this meeting, we have also, we will give you a link to a group discussion in our Facebook page. And Bernard also told us that he's open for a one-on-one discussion with you. So for people who actually want more or want to go more in deep, there is a possibility to go with him and talk. Then I would also point out that we have also already our next event. That's a time management training, the 14th of April. That's on Tuesday. Time management is something that now is very important to give clearance and to perform. It's done by our well-known trainer Bernard Moerman from JCI Brussel, and it is in English. You can find all the events in the future already on their event page. Then, the emergency exits in case of fire. Well, in this case, it's in case of no internet. It's very simple. You can just reconnect by just going back to the link that you got. Okay, so if you have in case an internet failure, which is possible, you can just push on the link and I can actually admit you again in this meeting. Thank you very much. So now I'll unmute you all and I will put out the cameras. And I will give you, Bernard, the stage. Have a nice evening and try to focus and connect. The video will be able and delivered by emailing. Thank you very much. Okay. So now you can also your cameras out.
Ja, al de camera's aan een niet op zin. Huh? Ah, wait.
Okay, only. See. Okay, good. Bernard, are you ready? You can put your yes. Are you ready, Bernard?
Yes, I am.
Okay, then you have the stage. Good luck.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us tonight. First, I just wanted to have one other rule, but I'm not sure. I ask the question normally at every start of every speech to put down the mobile phones, but I guess if I do that today, then some of you guys won't see it. So excuse me for that mistake. It's the first time for everybody. So since I cannot ask that question, I can maybe start with another question. Do you recognize that moment in your life when the future looks like one big question mark? That moment that after years of hard work and finally achieving your goals, you discover this is not what I want. But then what do I want? Or that moment you experienced, my dream is not going to happen. What do I do now? Or that moment, the coronavirus turned your life completely upside down and you have no clue what to do next. Well, I had that moment mid-August 2015 when all of a sudden an email came in with a short video and a small note. The video shows a huge American baseball stadium with in the middle a guy in his early 40s in a US Army uniform. Major Dr. Daniel Posley was decorated that day in front of a crowd of about 80,000 cheering people for his heroic actions, saving many lives of soldiers and civilians in the Afghan war zone. He had been so brave and professional that this day he was celebrated as the hero of the game. The note with the video said, "Thanks to you, coach. You're the hero of my game, Dan." I gotta say that the very first moment, I was so proud. I had coached a real hero. And above all, he called me a hero. But soon I had too much emotions coming. You know, the video, the title, everything, it was too much. I felt like hit by a truck. I felt dizzy, all kinds of stuff went through my head. What started with housing one American cyclist in '93 soon became an international cycling development center with a program for about 50 cyclists per year. I sold my house, bought a small B&B, remodeled it into a cycling center. I loved what I was doing. I grew, and in 2013, I became a professional cycling team. the moment of Dan's email, Dan being Daniel Posley, you know, I was running a professional cycling team with 20 cyclists, a crew of about 20 people, a huge tour truck, a tour bus, a 14-meter long truck, 2 smaller trucks, 1 big mobile home, 2 vans, 6 team cars, all connected with intercoms, telephones, radios, cameras, and so on. And much, much, much more stuff, as we were doing about 150 race days per year all over Europe and US. I lived out of a suitcase at the speed of 200 kilometers an hour, so to speak, day in, day out. Now I felt myself shaking like a leaf. I was thinking, just see me sit here, hating my life because I didn't like anymore what I was doing. I was totally unsure about my future. That was one big question mark. And on top of that, I was called a hero from one of my former cycling center members. What was wrong with me? What did I not see? What had I overlooked? That evening, I went home, sat down with my wife. She tried to calm me down, which was not easy. And we looked at the video several times and we brought up some memories. Dan arrived in my program in '97, trying to become a professional cyclist. After 3 years of trying, no success, no pro deal, no trophies, no more money, just one big broken dream. So in the eyes of many, he was a zero. And for himself, his future looked like one big question mark. So he went back home to Chicago with that question mark in his bag, had all kinds of jobs, and after a while he started studying medicine school and he became a doctor. After that, he wanted to become an orthopedic surgeon, but there was no way he could afford that. So he went into the military, as they had a program where they support those type of guys. But then in return for the support, they send those guys to all kinds of dangerous places. So that's how he ended up in Afghanistan and, you know, was the hero of the game at the end. So in a way, there you could see a complete story of a zero to hero guy. But thinking about that, you need to know that I worked with over 900 guys in those 25 years. And about 25 became professionals, professional cyclists, meaning all those others went home like Dan, as zeros. But to be honest, with all the stories I gathered from those guys in all those years, I did not look at those guys as they were zeros. As many of those guys could really tell me a zero to hero story in their personal life, as they became engineers, entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers, pilots, physiotherapists, proud fathers, you know? So to me, that was something very strange. And at the same time, brought up a package that Dan had sent us in 2014. The package included a Stars and Stripes, a certificate, and a note. The certificate was the proof that the flag had flown at the camp where he was active in Afghanistan. And the note said, "Coach, you told us all the time, go find your values and your talents, discover your passions, and do something with impact." Well, I saved lives over here in Afghanistan as an orthopedic surgeon, thanks to you and I gotta say that Dan's video was a wake-up call for me. But rereading the note, that moment, that was the uppercut. Because never in my entire life, I had thought about the fact that I did not notice that I had not practiced what I preached. I had never thought about my own values, my talents, left alone my passions. I was way too busy doing things, moving forward, getting things done, go, 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 full gas. When I received even the Stars and Stripes in 2014, that present, I mean, even then the note didn't land properly. So I gotta say that today, I really want to share with you my most important discoveries of my life. That moment, mid-August 2015, when I was sitting in the living room with my wife, with the video in front of me, the Stars and Stripes with me, the certificate, and the 2 little notes. The first discovery I made is, first, I thought I was in this entire thing alone. But I learned the I story is a we story. Simply put, without no cycling center, no stories, no history, no learnings. I'm not even talking to you today if that was not the case. So we co-created, we achieved everything together, and we worked together with others and for others as one team. The second discovery is, in a way, the guide of my baseline. Go find your values, your talents, discover your passions, and do something with impact. Really, in a way, the manual was in the title right in front of me. Hero of the game. As the hero is humble, empathic, resilient, and has an optimistic mind. And the game? Well, that's a chain of really mandatory actions. As it's the G from growth mindset actions that trigger your creativity with your values and your talents. The awareness means you got to be very curious, and you need to notice with a lot of patience what these actions connect with you and with your environment. And meaning, you got to communicate to understand which wanted services your values and talents can help produce impact for you and for your environment. And the enjoyment of the described actions, you really need to look at those that gives you fun and joy. You might ask, what's the benefit of this game? Well, let me explain you. The combination of your values, your talents, and your continuous learnings, those things grow your competences. And we all know that competence builds confidence. And it motivates more practice. Assessing and adjusting in small steps makes you agile and feel safe. This confident, agile, and safe feeling stimulates you with your inner drive, with a positive energy in a way that you become passionate about pursuing your purpose to impact. Some of you might think, yeah, great. And how is this going to work for me? Well, the proof is in the pudding. So allow me to take you through my game. And while I give you my personal answers, you can just think about yours. So let's start with the game. Or you know what? I'll first explain, what triggered my values and my talents. Discovering that the world I have been so passionate about in the beginning of the 90s seemed in 2015 very hypocritical to me, full of lies, false promises, hidden agendas. And it made even more clear that honesty and respect are my 2 most important values that I would fight for day and night. Finding my talents, I asked myself 3 questions. What gives me energy? What makes my time fly? And what makes other people ask me, Bernard, how did you do this? Managing my cycling team might look glamorous from the outside, but it was one big fake circus to me. It sucked away all my energy and my joy. Motivating and guiding people in their game, that is my talent zone. So let's talk about my game, the G. What were the growth mindset actions I talked about? Well, in a way, it's about 3 actions. First, I took classes in coaching, in speaking, and in lecturing. Second, I started studying personal development and leadership. And third, and for me, maybe the most important one, I trained myself to listen better and to notice more. My awareness, well, I became aware that my purpose is helping people to turn their values and talents into their purpose with impact. So, not necessarily winning cycling races. My game is for sure an infinite game. My meaning? Well, after noticing the positive impact for myself of the discovery of my own values and talents, making my purpose was very clear. Stimulate and help as many people as possible with go find your values, your talents, discover your passions, and do something with it. And my enjoyment? What did I feel the inner drive? What gives me joy? Sharing my experiences and learnings and offering my new competences gives me a great joy. The feeling of giving myself generates a real fantastic drive. I can see you think, yeah, now he's talking about the hero thing. Yes, but honestly, while managing my cycling program, I never noticed whether I was humble, empathic, resilient, or had an optimistic mindset. Maybe I had none of those. But discovering my game made me enough hero to make me decide to stop my cycling center. Yeah, I see some people with a question like, wow, he killed his darling. Yes, I killed my darling, but only after discovering my new darling. And that is finding people and, so that they can find their values, talents, discover their passions, and do something with it. One final question might come up. When? When can you do this? Are you not too young? Too unexperienced? Too old? Well, to me, only people that stop learning are too old. And you can wait for a personal crisis in a way like I did, or you can wait for a world disaster as we're all going through. But I would instead say, be proactive. Whether you are in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s like I am, your 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, doesn't matter. It is not about age. It is about enjoying your game, where transforming becomes your competence. I helped Dan finding the start of his game and begin his journey from zero to become the hero of his game. I thank Dan for helping me discovering how to finally become the hero of my game. And I want to inspire you today to take immediate action and step into that great moment of your life. Go find your values and your talents, discover your passions, and do something with impact, as that is the start to become the hero of your game. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Bernard, for your presentation, hero of the game. I have the first questions, but there are still room for other questions that you can type in the chat. The first question is as follows. I'm afraid to lose my job. The job I don't like so much, but I just heard you talking about passions. How can I combine losing my job with my passions?
Okay, it's a very good question. And it's a question, I need to say that I'm also a career coach. That's a question that I get a lot from people that come for career coaching. So it's not a question that it's only coming now since the coronavirus. The thing is, obviously you will have to look for another job if you're losing your job. But just looking for another job is, to me, is not the solution. Because maybe you want to look for something that fits more with who you are, you know? And therefore, then I would suggest that while you are looking for a new job, you really try to find what your values are, what your passions are, what your talents are. Because don't you think that you want to find a new job that you like a lot? But how do you know what you like if you don't even know what your capabilities are? And there is a difference between talents and competences. So I can understand the fear, but while we have a little time now, I would say for sure invest in yourself and just go find in yourself what your real values are and what your talents are. And please do not tell me that you don't have any talents, because talent is much more than be able to cook, to paint the walls, to play football, or to play the guitar. There is more things that can be talents. So that would be my answer.
Okay, I have a next question. What is the origin of this talk?
Well, the origin is I prepared this talk as a TED Talk, and I'm working on this already since October last year. So it's not because of the coronavirus. So in that time, I had to talk about, real things that happened that made us change. But now we have a coronavirus. Well, it does something to everybody. So everybody will have to change a little bit. And like I said, since everything came to a standstill, maybe this is the ideal moment to really think about yourself, who you are, what your values are. Because, excuse me, the experience learns me over here. When I ask the people that come here for coaching, and I ask them, do you really know what your values and your passions are? They don't. So it's not a shame that you don't know right away. As I told you in the speech, which is true, I didn't think about them all those years. I just worked hard, and maybe even being competent in something was misleading me. But since I did not like anymore what I was doing, I for sure knew I don't want to continue, but I had no clue what I was wanting to do. So then I started researching what I did, and that's the result. So I am not saying it's easy, but working at, doing something that you really do not like doing, well, that's for sure not easy.
Okay, I have another question. You just talked about trainings, but with what training should I start?
Well, online you can already find places where you can try to discover your talents. I would suggest you just go and pick some of those things. And I do not want to talk about this one is much better than this one. Just the fact that you start digging in that area will make you start thinking. And maybe at home you can talk with your partner, with your parents, about who you really are. And also for yourself, in a way but sometimes you're really afraid to let that come out. So in the past, a lot of people kind of knew, well, what I'm doing right now, I do not like it much, but at least it is work. Well, maybe part of those people are now forced to think about it because there's a big chance that they will not have their job they had before. So isn't it better to be a little prepared when you are looking for something new, that you know at least a little more what you really want, because we will all have to work hard. So I think you want to find a place where you work hard that is close to your values and your talents, because at that moment, you will get energy and your time will fly.
What is the best way to fear the mistake? And what is the best way to learn from it and go for your goals?
What is the best way to fear the mistake? Can you repeat that first part of the question?
Yeah. If you do a mistake and you are actually having fear to make it, so you actually don't want to make mistakes, so that's why you fear it to make one, so you put yourself in making a mistake. So how go you through that fear?
Yeah, well, that is one of the most important things we all need to learn in the Western world. We come from an era where everything was led by command and control. So we, in companies, we could not make mistakes. In schools, they count your mistakes. We now go to an era where they are looking for creative people. And do you really think that all the known creative people do not make mistakes? If Edison stopped after making a mistake to find the lamp, I mean, we had no lamp because I think he made 5,000 mistakes. What I mean with that is, if you use your common sense, you still will make mistakes, but they will be small. And it is about what you learn from the mistakes. And in the past, if I would have said that 4 months ago, you might have said, yeah, but if I make the mistake, I will pick another one. The world is going to change. They look for more and more creative people. And with creativity comes the fact that you will make some mistakes. So does that mean that we can make mistakes all day? No. But we will be less punished for making one, as for everybody, some parts of what we will do will be new. I mean, we see when we open the news, we hear already, oh, that could have been done this way, or that could have been that way. Yeah, but one thing is for sure, we need to act. Yes, and we will make mistakes because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So that is really a basic thing that we should try to not fear making a mistake. Me here tonight, this is the very first time. Is this perfect? No. But I'm learning. And if this first time does not come today, then I cannot use the learnings I get from this today in my better speech tomorrow and another better speech the day after. It's about what we learn from our mistakes. So to me, that is the biggest advice. But I understand this is a very hard shift, for sure, for all of us that are working already for years, because we have been so drilled to not make mistakes. But because we were not making any mistakes, we were not moving forward, we were not creative. And now all our bosses are looking for creative people.
Bernard, I have somebody who's actually still looking for her passion. Do you have actually a key exercise or a key game so that person can find her game?
Not by heart, but are you saying she wants to find, like, know where her talents are? Is that what the question?
Indeed. What actually makes time fly?
Well, if she leave, it's if you give me 1 second, I'll just grab a book with the name of it. Just wait.
And meanwhile, I can say there's still more talk, more questions.
For all the people in Belgium, I can really recommend the book of Luc de Wolf, Ik kies voor mijn talent. So I choose for my talent. I think it's in English too. It's a great book And there you have already a very good exercise, and there is an online exercise in it. Okay, that's www.mytalentbuilder.com.
Can you repeat I will write it in the chat.
The website is mytalentbuilder.com. And for all Flemish-speaking people, there is also a website, and he has a book, and that's called Ik kies voor mijn talent. And that is very good explained. And there you will see that you will instantly recognize yourself and see several talents you have. And it also explains how all those things work, because obviously it's a little more complex than just saying, go in a book and you know your talents, but at least it gives you an idea. And this person is doing this already for years. So, I mean, this is not invented a week ago because of the coronavirus, huh? Because that's a little bit of my point. We should have been busy with all those things already 10, 15 years.
Bernard?
Yes?
Can you show the cover of the book, please?
And I think it is in English too. You can find it in English. You know? And I'm not saying this is the only one, but I'm saying this is very approachable, very much understanding. So I recommend it because it's from here, because not everything needs to come from America or England or something. We have very good specialists over here too.
Can you show it a bit closer to the camera, please?
Okay, sorry. Is that okay?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
And like I said, you know, it's not because you know your talents and your values. That's something you really need to check, because just an idea. If you have a group of friends of 5 people, there are some people you feel more connected with than others. And if you think about it a little more, the reason of your connection will most probably, at least a big part of it, because you have some sort of the same values as another person, or values that can go together, you know? So, and a lot of times we don't think about those things. And to be honest, we're not taught them in school. I don't know if it happens already in kindergarten now that they do more with your talents, but at least we were not raised like that. And the best example I can give for that is, for everybody that comes to my career coaching or something, I ask, can you tell me what schools you went to? And then also, why you went to that particular school? And for 95%, you will hear all kinds of logistic, perfect, reasonable reasons, meaning I went there with my sister, I could go with the bus, and the bus station was right next to it. It is in the town here. My father could bring us every day. Those type of practical reasons. But you don't hear reasons that, yeah, this is according with my talents, or there I could deploy my talents. You know? So we are not used to it. So we shouldn't blame ourselves. I was 57 when I started to discover all those things. So most of you are way younger to find those things out. So opportunities are ahead of you guys.
Okay, Bernard, I have a question here. I'm a JCI member. How can JCI help me to find my passion and talents?
Well, at the end of the day, you will do it yourself. Because I think in the speech, you can see that I talk a lot about you taking action. So with JCI, I understand that we're trying to figure out some trainings and stuff that we will do together, so to give people directions. But at the end of the day, these are your values, they are your talents, They are your passions. So it will be your route, you know, and that's not GCI to say what to do. And it's not me as a coach. It's you to figure that out, but we can give support. And I think as far as I understand you, Peter, we will do some things together so that we can give directions and help people. But at the end of the day, you got to understand that we cannot just sit there comfortably numb and wait till some stuff comes. I don't think that that time has ever existed, but it's for sure not existing anymore from today on, so to speak. So we can help, but you will still take the action.
Thank you, Bernard. You talk about a lot about action. Is it that everybody should be an entrepreneur?
No, not at all. But I mean, see it as, let's say, in sports, if you have a very big VO2 max, so you are really a good athlete, you're born with it. So in a way, that's a talent. But if you don't train, if you don't do anything, and you're a couch potato, that talent is not doing anything. And being an entrepreneur is a talent as well, but you could be a very good helper. And a lot of people feel that this is what they want to do. They want to be the best helper. So that doesn't mean you need to be an entrepreneur, but you can want to be the best helper. You know, a lot, if you look now at the people in the hospitals and in the nursing homes, a lot of those people are not entrepreneurs, but see with how much passion and love they work. So entrepreneurship is also a talent, but you don't need, you know, there's much other talents that you can, that give you joy, that can give you joy.
Okay. Actually, I have a family and some kids, and I have actually no time to find my passion. Uh, will I lose something if I do it after Corona crisis?
Like I said, I do not know when you need to start that. I'm just saying, try to be as proactive as possible. The sooner you begin with it, the better it is for you. I mean, you decide. And if you say, and if you think that I'm full of just bullshit, so to speak, well, then that's up to you. I mean, but you need to understand that at the end of the day, that part can nobody else do but yourself. You are the only one that can really dig into yourself and find out what you get warm about, what are your values, and what you feel like, I can do this much easier than other people. You know, that's something you need to figure out. There are some tricks, but you still will need to do the tricks. And then, as soon as you would know this is some sort of a talent, then you will still need to train yourself to become, to get a higher competence of it, to be at value of other people, because that's also what I said in the speech. If you have a talent of something, or that you can do something that nobody is asking for, then maybe you can be good in it, but you will make no money with it. So that's why I said, try to figure out what is in your talents and in your capacity that other people can demand, because that's where the jobs are.
Yes, Bernard, I notice a lot of passion in the chat, certainly about JCI, which I recognize. I have another question here. Why was that moment so important for you?
Well, honestly, because now I preach being proactive. I was not proactive myself. So I needed a moment where I got hit by a truck. Some people need to go through a bad disease, a car accident, or I don't know, or a company that goes broke, lose their job before they start thinking. That's the message. Well, you can start thinking before something really bad happens. And I just saw a chat coming by, learning by doing, perfect. You know, learning by doing. And then while you do, you will make mistakes. You'll learn from what you're doing. And then you get better in doing what you're doing. But, you know, I needed that hit. I needed that moment. And in a way, for a lot of people, the coronavirus is that moment. But really, you really do not necessarily need to wait for that. And you need to understand that I made this talk about 6 months ago, where I could see the world is changing a lot. So my message then was solely be proactive, because people are now asking for people that are creative. We need to realize that when you have kids that are 12 years old, I think it's about 40% of those kids that are 12 years old now, their first job will be a job that does not exist today. You could not have dreamed about becoming a drone pilot 15 years ago, because the only drones there were some toys. So dreaming about making that your job, that was kind of childish. But look now, we see drone pictures every day now. There's a lot of professionals out there. So those guys, in a way, were learning by doing, some by playing. They made mistakes, but now those guys have already 10 years of experience. You know why? Because in a way, they were proactive. Maybe they didn't know they were proactive, but they were. They were doing stuff before it was asked. And that is what you need to train yourself for. Just go look. And then the only thing that can be sure, some sort of, is who you are. Because the demand is going to change. Because talking about those drone pilots, maybe in 10 years, I don't know if we will need them. Maybe all that will go automatically or something. I don't know. We will have driverless cars. Maybe we'll have, you know, pilotless drones. I don't know. But then those guys will do something else again.
One of the last questions, Bernard. Do you know an exercise written to find your talents?
Written? I think so, but that is something I need to do some research on, and I can post that for everybody that was on there. Yeah, I will find that out. There will be some, but again, it is very important that whatever you come across, you work on it, you do it, and you are honest with yourself. And for some people, that will be scary already, you know, being honest, because that was one of your first questions, being fear of making mistakes. Well, we all make mistakes, you know.
Okay, thank you, Bernard. I see somebody referring to a very famous book, Moved My Cheese, very recommended.
Oh, Who Stole My Cheese? Well, it's an example. Wait a second. I have it here somewhere. But that is just explaining that you should be proactive. Because they have it in Dutch, have it in English. I do not find it right away, but yeah. Who Stole My Cheese? I cannot find it right away, but in a way it is not an exercise. It's just a story about some people adapting, being agile, and other people not being agile. That's kind of the story. But yeah, it's a short read. It's about 50 pages. It's a fun book. It's about mice, and some really do the right thing and are really proactive, and the others are not. But it's a great, it's really a good example. It's a very good story. Everybody can understand that story.
Bernard, are you open for a virtual hug?
I'm learning, so you know, I think there is enough distance between everybody, so I'm open for that. If you learn me how we do that, I'll do that right away.
I think you just have to spread your arms, Bernard.
Okay.
Can have a virtual group hug.
Okay. Well, I thank everybody for participating. It was a pleasure, and I am learning quite a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bernard. This was indeed our first experience, learning by doing. Well, yeah. I see that still 33 people were hanging on your lips, so very well done, Bernard.
Thank you very much.
So we are actually from JCI Change Your Game. That's our project. We as JCs, we will actually give you confidence in a changing world. And that's why I just give you a few. For the English speaking, we have the time management the 14th of April. And we have the 20th of April also, how to be creative in crisis times. So people who find creative talents can dive in it with famous Walter Dankaart. For the Dutch speakers, we have also next week how we can prepare, of how we can prepare for the job market with an expert Jan de Nes. And the 23rd of April, we have how to keep your company financially above water, how it's called, how to survive it. So I would like to thank everybody for joining us. If people are needed to have more in-depth, I will post on our page a link to a next Zoom meeting where you can go and communicate with Bernard Moerman, our host from the Hero of the Game. There is also a discussion group on Facebook. Normally everybody received a link for that. So if you want to discuss one or other, or you want to write your talents down, that is the place to be. I thank you very much for attending this meeting, and follow us with our beautiful project. If you have ideas, if you say my local chapter wants to join and knows a very interesting speaker in any language, I would say contact us, and for sure we can work together, because we are a platform and we want to move and give confidence. So thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Think, reflect, and act. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.